What's up guys and girls, welcome to another video. In today's video I'm going to be telling you how you can go to Asia for free. How good is that? You can go to Asia for free, no money needed for the plane tickets. Now we're going to talk about a couple of hurdles that you might have to come across when first coming here, and really the things that you need to really know if you want to fly over here for free. This is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the initial costs of coming here. Now, of course, I'm talking specifically about China, but also about the whole of Asia. All of these countries have the same kind of systems in place where you can actually come to Asia for free. You don't have to pay for a plane ticket here. And this is really what I did myself. So let's start with what I did. So I remember coming to China in 2019. In November. I was age 23 when I came here. And yeah, it was winter in the UK. It was cold, it was dreary, it was miserable. And I remember wanting to come to wanting to go to another country. And of course, China was the place that I was headed to. And I boarded the plane that took me to the stopover location. And then, of course, I went all the way to China from there. And I remember not paying a single thing to come here on the plane. The plane ticket was probably about £400. That was one way, but I didn't pay for that. And a few other expenses as well that we had to, that you would generally have to think about if coming to another country, we didn't have to worry about. Now, here is the catch. The catch is that you will have to pay some initial expenses when you arrive in the country, but I'm going to say how you can actually avoid those, circumvent those difficulties a bit later on. So let's just suppose then that you are wanting to come to Asia, you're wanting to come to a country for, well, in this case, it's teaching. So let's suppose that you want a job teaching English as a foreign language or as a second language, which is what most people do when they come to Asia to live long term. Now, what you have to do is you need to search the internet. You need to search on, Google or whatever engine you use, and look for specifically jobs where the plane tickets are paid for. You will probably find this is quite a common requirement or quite a common perk of the job. And it's essentially a willingness to travel to the other country, but the expenses are paid for. And what expenses am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about the plane ticket over here. So a lot of these jobs will actually recruiters or employers will actually pay for your plane ticket over to the country, which is fantastic. I mean, a free plane ticket to another country. I mean, how many other jobs would, give you that luxury? Now, the other thing is, as well, is transportation from the hotel, from the airport to the hotel, and also the stay in the hotel for training or whatever other things that they want you to do. And this was basically provided for me. So when I first got to China, after flying for 14 hours, I got the free meals and everything on the plane. It was great. And then I arrived in China and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know, where to go, who to look for, because it's a foreign land. You have no idea. And that's where I met the employer kind of representative or the company representative in the airport. Now this guy took me in his car, so it was a private journey, private ride from the airport to the hotel in Beijing. And this guy didn't want any money for the transport because it was paid for by the company. And then got to the hotel, didn't have to pay for the hotel. We were in the hotel for 2 weeks training. Full time, obviously it was like a job, but this is, the thing that you have to go through in order to actually then find your job when they assign you to your city. And you'll find that many companies, not just in China, but in all of Asia, do these kinds of setups, these kinds of things. So I spent 14 days in the hotel. I got to meet some really great people, and then after that, I was given my train ticket, again paid for, to go from Beijing to Qingdao, which is where I live right now, Qingdao, the city. And that took about 4 hours. And again, we had some, it was an easy ride. It was quick, it was easy, and it was all paid for. So that was great, all out the window. Didn't have to worry about that. Now, some expenses that you might have to worry about, of course, range from things like food. So we needed to pay for our own food, and chances are you will have to as well, unless, of course, a company provides the meals for you, which is definitely possible in the 14 days that you will be initially in the country. And it's not just 14 days; it can be 7 days, it can be a couple of days. It really varies from company to company and what they want you to do when you're training. But it's definitely a real possibility. It's also possible that you will have your meals paid for at the school as well. I've heard that is quite a common thing. In this city, it's common if you work at a kindergarten, for example, for you to have your meals paid for. So how is that? You go to school in the morning, you get your breakfast, you then, teach for a couple of hours, maybe 4 hours, stop for lunch, and then teach again, and then maybe you go home to have your meal or something like that. But still, you're getting 1 or 2 meals for free during the day, which is fine. So, you need to, of course, apply for a visa, apply for the documentation. You need to get it notarized, have a notary look over your documents to prove that they are valid, that they are genuine, and also medical expenses as well. Now, I remember this being one of the big costs in the UK. Now, my company did require really kind of a double medical check. So one in your home country, another in this country, in China. So what we had to do was go to a doctor's, maybe a GP, general practitioner in the UK, and get it privately done. You could not do this on the NHS. This was a private service. So I remember having to have blood taken, which was about £50. It was so expensive. I remember that one of the nurse doing the blood test, saying to me, you're paying £50 to have your blood taken. This is quite expensive. And I said, well, yes, but unfortunately, it's what the employer demands from the employees. And then you have to have other checkups as well, things to prove that you don't, maybe an eyesight check, your nose, things that won't present a problem to prospective employers when you get here. So once you've had all of that done, which can be quite costly, I remember paying maybe between £150 and £200 for that service, which was a lot to pay before even getting to the country. You'll then have another check in your host country. And for this, it's much cheaper. So in China, the whole cost was, a lot cheaper. Having things done, having checks, chest x-rays, ultrasounds, these kinds of things, they were cheaper, a lot cheaper. And, in China, medical aid or medical services are generally cheaper, but they are private. You have to pay yourself. There's no kind of health service. So these are some of the costs you might have to incur. But that being said, many of the other costs were incurred by the company. And here's what I wanted to say before. It is possible, or would be possible, for you to take out a loan of some description. So if you are moving to another country, of course, taking a loan out might be a little more expensive, or it might be a little more troublesome, because you have to worry about paying back everything to the to your country's bank, or to the bank in your country. But it's certainly possible to do that if you had the desire, or your employer could incur some of the costs. So this is one of the things that I actually did. I did pay for the medical checkups myself, but they were not that expensive. I was already earning money the minute I set foot on Chinese soil. I was getting paid to do the training. I was getting paid after then as well, as soon as I got to my training center in the city. And so that wasn't really a problem. I could pay myself back relatively quickly. And again, if you can't take a loan out of a bank and you have zero money, absolutely zero money, you can always get family or friends to loan you some money as a goodwill gesture, or to, with the promise of paying them back. But here's the thing. As soon as I got to my city, my employer, my training school manager or supervisor basically offered me a loan to live in an apartment. They said, look, same day I got to the city, they said, we can actually, give you a loan, provide you with a loan, and we will pay for your apartment for the first year. So of course, at this point, I didn't have as much money. I didn't have a hefty savings pot. In fact, I was really without any money at all. I'd been living in China for 2 weeks, being paid to live in the training, but it was nowhere near enough to pay for the deposit on an apartment, never mind to pay for the whole year or for 6 months, which is quite a common practice here in China, where you actually have to pay for 6 months rent, you have to put down a deposit, all of these things. So I said, yes, absolutely, I will take the loan out. And then they just said, okay, we will take some money out of your pay every single month to pay for your accommodation, to pay for your apartment. So I thought it was great. I didn't have to put any money down in order to get started here. And that's really why it's so great coming to Asia, coming to a market where you are in high demand as a foreigner, as a native speaker, or just simply as somebody from a foreign land wanting to work for a company over here. This is one of the benefits. And then, of course, you have all of these other perks like bonuses and things that come later on in your journey. So that's just something worth considering for those wanting to come to Asia to teach English as a foreign language. As I said before, there are so many opportunities out here, and you really aren't limited to going into your own pocket and, living off that. There are so many options available for those who just want to get started over here, but don't have a great pot of money to get started teaching. All right, guys, see you in another video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.